Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Let's begin session 8 of the International LoongArch Biweekly. And I think, so as you can probably tell, I'm sick today, so I'll probably just do the introductions and the rest I will give it to our friends at the community. And I'll try my best to answer questions at the end. So before we start, this meeting is organized by Loongson Hobbyist Community, a third-party organization unaffiliated with Loongson Technology or any of the companies, entities, and institutions mentioned in this document. Please limit discussions to open information only. We will not answer questions for products and designs currently under development or testing. Please refrain from making political statements or commentary for the duration of the meeting. And finally, opinions expressed in this meeting are strictly of the individual speakers. And let's get into upstream development, and let's start with GNU toolchain. I'll leave it to Cyril.
Hello. In the GNU toolchain, the news are not so much comparing to some previous meetings. So there is only one page for all the toolchain components. The most contributions are from Meng Qinggao. In glibc, the previously mentioned fix for thread cancellation from Meng Qinggao has been merged. But I don't think the fix is worth to be backported. But if you are concerning about this issue and you are maintaining a distro, you can backport the fix anyway. In BUTLs, Meng Qinggao proposed a fix for the second item is also against glibc. Meng Qinggao also proposed a fix for the glibc pointer mangling routine on reduced 32-bit LoongArch. On the reduced 32-bit LoongArch, the bit-rooted instructions do not exist, so the pointer mangling routine must avoid using those instructions. The pointer mangling is a mechanism to prevent the attack based on overwriting a long jump buffer. The pointer in the long jump buffer will be mangled. It will be rotated and XORed with a constant. So the semantic contains bit rotate, but without the bit rotate instructions, it has to be simulated with shift instructions and or an inclusive or instruction. In BUTLs, Meng Qinggao proposed a GNU assembler patch series to fix the handling of expressions subtracting a symbol address. Previously, those addresses were always assumed to be zero, but with this patch, they are encoded properly with the relocation records. Meng Qinggao also proposed another assembler patch to avoid the DWLNS fixed advanced PC directives in the debug info, unless the linker relaxation makes such a directive absolutely necessary in order to reduce the debug info size. In BUTLs, previously we discussed about a so-called goat layout alteration issue in the static linked artifacts. But I thought it was not a GOT layout issue. It should be actually incorrect resolution of the R LoongArch GOT PC low 12 relocation. The reporter of the original issue, Yang Yanjun, has confirmed my analysis is correct and my fix also works. But Meng Qinggao has sent some review comments. My brain has not been scheduled to process the comments yet. So next page.
And next we'll have Linux kernel, and I'll leave it to Wang Xuerui.
Hello. Um, for the past 2 weeks, we have a bit more work regarding Linux kernel. So let me go through them one by one. First of all, we have the platform support side. Chen Huacai submitted a patch series to fix uh, CPU voltage and frequency scaling with the latest May 2026 firmware, as well as on multiprocessor systems. Please apply the patch set if you want to have working CPU frequency and voltage scaling on on the latest firmware with the updated SMC ABI. And Gao has submitted a patch to correctly define direct map physical mem and based on uh, different supported physical address ranges on different LoongArch platforms. This is done to fix AMD GPU initialization, specifically memory mapping, when HSA AMD SVM is enabled. Wang Hongliang submitted the 10th revision of the patch set to uh, basically add clock-related properties and bus speed adjustment for Longsang I squared C bus. And this is addressing review comments from the Sashiko AI. And Zhao Qunqing submitted a third revision of his EDAC patch set, encoding node and memory controller information using the ACPI DSD property MC index. And Zhou Binbin fixed, actually rebased the patch to support thermal monitoring on 2K300. Okay, next page. Okay, moving on to the KVM subsystem. Cui Tao added two capability flags to KVM check extension. These two extensions are actually implemented, just not announced to user space. So user space has no way to discover and actually make use of them. So this patch fixes it. He also asked Mobibo about introducing this macro KVM cap vCPU events to LoongArch and LoongArch specific KVM vCPU event struct in order to quickly capture the current interrupt and migration exception. Uh, he has a speculation, but Mobiboy responded that the patch was removed because the implementation to track interrupts and migration exceptions required further revisions after DMS interrupt controller, actually direct message interrupt controller was introduced, and that AI reviews reported issues. So maybe this patch set will need a bit more polishing. And Cui Tao also submitted a fix for a race condition in this function. But Moviebo suggested replacing the compare and exchange operation with the spin lock to improve readability, since he thought the function wouldn't be on a hot code path. And Chaitanya Lagisedi submitted a fix for a memory leak in the KVM initialization flow, as well as added a missing free operation in KVM and its failure path. Finally, Mobibo adjusted the ordering of certain KVM make vCPU request functions in order to ensure the IPIs are sent to the correct physical CPU core. And he also submitted a patch to utilize a new hardware feature on the Longshan 3 series, 6000 series platform that allows basically resource sharing of virtual CPU cores to get improved. Okay, moving on to the next page. For BPF subsystem, we have the usual contributors. George Guo introducing timed make-go-to support for LoongArch BPF backend, and Yang Tiezhu subsequently enabled related test cases for LoongArch. But the AI reviewer mixed the merge target and produced the garbage review comments. So things like that happens. George Guo also submitted a patch for Arc BPF stack walk support on LoongArch for a generic BPF stack walking capabilities. Finally, Tiezhu patched out some unnecessary zero extent operations after memory loads. But this patch set has to be postponed to the next development cycle because it depends on some other patch set that's yet to be merged. Finally, for the other functional and code fixes, the first patch set is already covered in the platform support part. And Ho Peng submitted a fix to LoongArch default config by replacing removed deprecated config option to the current form. This is another case of some other contributor doing tree-wide refactoring but forgetting LoongArch. Okay, and finally, Mobibo extended the size of the ACPI package ID array to allow multi-CPU VMs with a very high CPU count to correctly boot because unlike a real physical machine, typical KVM emulated machine has each socket only contain one core and one thread. So it'll cause the package count to blow up if CPU count is too high. He also removed an unused function in KVM's MMU code. Okay, next page. Finally, here are some build tooling build system fixes. Tiezhu submitted patches removing local and mapped symbols from KAOSMs to prevent those symbols from interfering with BPF trees and maybe other debugging tools. And the Sashiko review bot believed that the code has security issues. However, the security issue is believed to originate from somewhere else, not introduced by this specific patch. And according to the threat model, the security is already broken when if the attacker can't gain control of the kernel module. He also proposed using current stack pointer in current ptrex macro, saving stack frame size, stack frame as compared to the old implementation, but that relied on compiler behavior. Finally, Zhou Binbin fixed two out-of-bound accesses that could be triggered in the data reordering code of the Longshan MMC driver. Okay, moving on to LLVM.
Sorry. So the LLVM updates, as you will see on some of the slides, only contains updates up to August 7th. There, me personally, who usually gathers this information, has been too busy, basically. So there has been delays on, I believe, LLVM other updates in box 64, so I do apologize for that. And
Sorry, may I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Wang Rui he's optimized several vector operations, and maybe the more important fixes are the ABI fix where he fixed the calling convention mismatch with GCC when passing values of complex types, such as this one, such as this complex int C type. He also submitted a pull request to convert expressions in the form of this ternary operation. If C, then x plus y, else x, to x plus C, then y, else 0. Why this is profitable on LoongArch? That's because the last part, if C then Y else 0, this is expressible with a single mask if 0, mask if equal to 0 instruction on LoongArch. Finally, he has also fixed the compiler crash caused by some certain constant conditional branches, and submitted a optimization path to clean up these conditional branches. So you may want to apply these. And Wang Lei submitted a pull request to add unit tests for making sure PC relative relocations are generated when it's possible, and preferred to add and sub relocation pairs. Um, in doing this optimization, he also had to mark the nope instruction sequence generated by and governed by R large align relocation, expanded from align directives as removable by linker relaxation passes, which should fix problems exposed by the previous change. And finally, Zhou Qiankang, the contributor to the Arch Linux for Long64 port, he has fixed the return value truncation to 32-bit when converting certain 32-bit floating point LSX vectors to floating point LSX vectors to 64-bit integer LASX vectors. So as distro packages or testers, you may also want to apply this patch set too. I think that's all for LVM.
Okay, thank you, Wang Xiuri. And I guess I'll read a few more. With EDA2, there has been a proposed pull request to allow UEFI CPU package to be built on LoongArch and RISC-V. So this will be important to read CPU information as well as package information. Gao Qihang submitted a fix where the UEFI shell was unexpectedly enabled even when secure boot is active. So personally, I don't quite understand why that's a problem, but maybe someone can enlighten me on that. And for box 64, Liu Yang isn't here, so I'll quickly go over a couple important changes. I guess the most important change in the past 2 weeks is that 16 kilobyte kernel pages is now a possible working combination for box 64. So it does rely on a series of hacks that will likely become a game of cat and mouse because more issue may come up as the series of hacks grow larger, And currently it works, but the compatibility is still worse than the 4K page size. There hasn't been, as I believe, there hasn't been too much discernible performance changes between the two kernel pages, nor was there significant growth in memory footprint when you use 16K. So hopefully down the line with 16K that's more commonly found amongst distros, Box64 will work gradually better. There has also changes to fix Command and Conquer games, as well as unreliable launching of Black Myth Wukong, and this game should now work pretty reliably with Box64. There has been a couple more fixes, especially with Valve games, Counter-Strike 2 and Dota 2. These two now work properly as well. For the rest, honestly, I do not know enough to give too much opinion and explanation on. And hopefully Liu Yang, when he comes back next issue, he will be able to explain more. And he has also mentioned to me that he probably will give a presentation on how he fixed 16K support. So I'll just move on from here. And for other updates, I'll move on to Yang Xinhui.
Okay, hello.
Yep, audio
Okay,
works.
let's move on to other updates. First, we have two bug reports or requests. First one is Xu Xiaowei requesting the BTOP project to provide official LoongArch 64 binaries in their releases. And there is one UZX 2008 requesting the Docker Easy Connect. This is a Docker container solution for using SignForce VPN client to update the A-Trust client within the Docker container to the version that supports LoongArch. And secondly, to add build configuration for LoongArch containers. And then we have several parts, optimization, and fixes. And here is the most interesting one to me. Baorong, he optimized the LoongArch backend of SpiderMonkey, the Firefox JavaScript engine. He improved the code generation for atomic operations using the base ISA atomic object instructions, and also the LoongArch 64 version 1.1 LAMBH extension. And secondly, he improved address materialization and load store sequences in common situations. And thirdly, he implemented WebAssembly huge memory support to allow bounds checking on LoongArch platforms with at least 48 bits of virtual address space. Next page, please. And here we have Xiruo Yao, who fixed the LASX implementation of negative multiply add in highway. This operation basically requires that the result of the multiplication must not be rounded, and only the final result should be rounded, which the previous implementation didn't adhere to. And this change has fixed the T gamma function test failures, which fails with the previous implementation. And he also implemented runtime dispatch support for highway, allowing runtime detection of LSX or LASX if building with GCC that is newer than 15.3. This allows the program to utilize the available vector instructions without breaking compatibility with processors liking this LASX extension. And we have Xinmu, who submitted the patch updating the autoconf files used by libhipc++, which is a dependency of PyTorch ROCm, also part of the ROCm suite. This fixed the unable to get system types error when building on LoongArch 64, which is a common thing when the autoconf scripts are out of date, and we have 我就是小白 who added muscle libc target for NAPIRS, a Node.js Rust extension development framework. Next page, please. And the rest of them are Xi Zhang, who added the LoongArch 64 target, LoongArch 64 Linux GNU target for the NAPI release of OX3 Resolver, a module parser for JavaScript. But however, the upstream closed the APR, stating that they need a detailed motivation behind it, because and I think that upstream doesn't consider allowing downstream projects to build is a clear motivation, but whatever. And Ernest Penn added small matrix kernel for SGEMM, LASX, and DGEMM for LASX. And we have more lore. Fix the LoongArch CI build for OpenBLAS by replacing the Qmule, which emulates the user space applications, with the Ubuntu's release that supports LoongArch 64 properly. And Yuan Hecai added LoongArch support for Orbeck V2, a computer vision software SDK for Orbeck robots. And we have LXH fixed several SMP and IRQ delivery issues on LoongArch for HVisor, a type 1 hypervisor, by making interrupt delivery mechanism stateful. So it tracks individuals. It tracks the interrupt and the SMP states for individual vCPUs instead of the previous implementation, which is filled with bugs. I think that's all. Other update. Oh no.
One more page.
There is another page. Yeah. And we have Nihui, who added the optimizations for int4, weight block quantization for x86 ARM, MIPS, LoongArch, and RISC-V. And we have Xie Zhibang, who added LoongArch build support for Ghidra. This is a well-known binary reverse engineering software. And we have Bai Mingcong, who submitted patches adding LoongArch 64, PPC 64 Little Endian, and the RISC-V 64 build targets for GitHub's CLI. After his request for adding LoongArch builds was rejected by the upstream. And in the PR, the upstream stated that they are currently limited on capacity and has started the discussion to expand their infrastructure capacity to allow the, let's say, tier 2 targets to be supported on this project.
Yeah, and that will be all.
I think that's all.
Yeah, and hopefully Microsoft would consider the tier 2 proposal. I think it will be quite useful. Anyway, let's move on to distro and operating systems. I'll just finish off the last 2 pages. So tips for maintainers. So on August 18, as we mentioned on the kernel page, Chen Huacai submitted a patch series to fix CPU voltage and frequency scaling with the 2026-05 firmware, as well as on multiprocessor systems. So the patch, as I understand it, is late for 7.2 and should land with 7.3. So if your distro's users are complaining about unbootable systems or incorrect frequency reporting, especially with 3B6000, you should consider backporting the series. We have tested the patch series on all known desktop and server systems, as well as 2K3000 and 3B6000M. And I missed a point here as well. I'll just quickly go back and explain. So in the platform support, Wang Hongliang's patch, the 10th revision for the clock-related properties with I2C is to fix jumpy touchpads on Longsun 2K3000 or 3B6000M laptops. So same rule applies if your users are complaining. This patch set is what you are looking for. And finally, for AOSC OS, the Core 14, so our core runtime and toolchain update is under preliminary testing. The release will contain GCC 16.2.0 and glibc 2.44. Notably for glibc, the new version will flip the disable multi-arch option to enable multi-arch. So for LoongArch, this will allow programs to dynamically detect the platform support for LSX and LASX via GNU indirect functions and choose the most optimized implementations for library functions. And this is especially the case for string processing functions. So with the update, you should expect performance improvements for basically all applications. And finally, for LATX, or basically, should I say competing solution to Box64. This is LoongArch architecture translator for x86 and a solution from basically Longsun's in-house solution. So we also ship this as an option, but we do have reservations about how it handles rootfs, but hopefully there will be improvements there. But in any case, we have given it the same treatment per the request of the LATX's maintainers to offer an hourly update channel as we do with Box64. So if you're interested in testing it out, you can do it with the OMA command below. Basically, this repository will push an update as soon as a new commit was made in the past hour. So say in the past 24 hours, in 3 of the hours there has been updates, you will get 3 updates. So yeah, that would be all for all the updates from this week. I'm ready for your questions.
Yeah, Alexander here, if I may.
Yes, please.
I think many of you have seen that long bleed security issues that has been discovered by various security researchers simultaneously during the last year, I think. And it's not urgent and we don't have to discuss it right now, but we should discuss it somewhere, how we deal with this in terms of Proxmox and similar use cases where VMs are used and one machine is not only mainly used by one user, but by multiple users, where this could be an issue, and whether we leave the user of that machine to decide whether they want full performance or more security, maybe suffering some performance.
Okay, so I guess I'm positioned to answer this question, but I'll be pretty careful with what I say. So basically, the security issue was first discovered last year. So it has been a full year since it was discovered, and the German researchers has given Longsun enough time to basically come up with solutions. So how should I put it? So the issue mostly affects multi-instance, multi-user deployments. So as you said, classic deployment case for PVE and other enterprise level cloud computing, those are definitely affected. So the issue stems from the implementation of LSX and LASX, and the SMT enabled systems only amplifies this issue. In terms of how risky it is, the scope of the vulnerability is actually quite limited. Data will only leak uncontrollably from the L1 cache at a very slow rate, and this rate slows down even more with systems without 256-bit vector. So that will be the 2K3000 and 3B6000M. But in any case, it's a vulnerability. Hardware fixes are available with the next stepping, which began to saw production last year. But when and how much they will come to the market, I do not have any information on that. As for mitigation, currently with the upstream kernel, your only mitigation is to disable SIMD and SMT. But again, as you said, Alexander, it really depends on how your threat model is. I do not believe it will be necessary for personal computing. As for enterprise level solutions, there has been patches from Chinese commercial distros. They have already been made available, but they're not open. And as I understand it, fixes and mitigation for upstream will be ready in the next month or so. But it does involve introducing a full mitigation, or the full, you know how on x86 you see the mitigation vulnerability field in LS CPU. So that framework has to be implemented according to upstream quality and upstream expectations, and the rest of the mitigation needs more testing before they can hit upstream. So for now, I guess the short answer for now is to kind of gauge your risk. If you're using it as a personal workstation, there really is no need to be concerned. But if you are sharing a computer or it's used in your enterprise projects, definitely contact LoongSun for even a temporary mitigation or disable SIMD. I think that's all I can share at the moment.
That's totally fine, and I agree with it. My suggestion was very simple. Just if we buy a script or something else, add it to Proxmox on LoongSun, that once a system is detected that has this potential flaw, the user is being asked, okay, you can now decide, do you want to disable SMD or do you want to keep it on your system? That's all I need, I think. Well, what suggests?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I really hope I was able to basically put up a page on LoongFence as well, but I just did not have the chance because, one, I do have to ask for official opinions, because there really is no need to get on their best side on this. But the other thing is that I did urge them to make this available for all upstream users. But yeah.
Again, no stress. I think I just need this answer, and we're fine with it. Excellent.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that there wasn't a chicken bit for this. I was hoping that there is. That would make things a lot more easier. But yeah, I think I'll move on to the next question. So a friend from for the Bilibili live stream asked, why is Nihui doing things for LoongArch, and is it a software that she maintains? Well, kind of a, if I'm being blunt, kind of a pointless question, really. If she's off work, why can't she do anything that she wants? So I think that will be end for it. NCNN is indeed the name of the project, but there really is no need to comment on what people do after work. Joyo A asked, is there going to be conflict between ATX Preview and Box64? So both emulators do rely on the bin format mechanism in Linux kernel. So you do only choose one, but the package can be installed alongside. So with a command call update alternatives, you can choose between the two. Okay, any more questions? Okay, well, let's just give a preview for the next meeting. The next meeting will be on September the 3rd at the same time. And we will likely have Liu Yang talking about 16K kernel page support for Box64 and other latest changes. So that will be all for this session of LoongArch Biweekly, and thank you very much for joining. To the left are Discord server and our Telegram group. And I should also note that if you weren't able to get into the Telegram group, it's probably that your request was flooded by other bots join requests. So if that happens, you can feel free to contact me, and I'll quickly handle that. And yeah, that will be all. And thank you all for joining. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.